What is it you refuse to answer on the...
Yeah.
What is it
You
they
can
say?
plead the fifth.
Yeah.
You can do that if you want. I'm not funny. Can you tell me your full name? Your full given birth name?
Like Elwin, Berry, Wilhoit?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Your date of birth?
Oh. The 8th. And, well, I was born in 21. Be October the 8th and 21.
October the 8th of 21. Okay, what about, where were you born? Your place of birth?
Well, I suppose I was born in Hood County, but, you know, you didn't go to the doctor then.
Did the doctor come to you?
He come to the house.
That's cool. Can you give me the full names of both your parents?
John Henry Wilhoit and Mary Lou. Do you want me to give it Mary Lou Wilhoit or Mary Lou Backus Wilhoit?
That's good. And the full maiden name of your spouse, your wife?
Neva Faye Riley.
All right. Where did you grow up?
Well, I imagine you'd say grew up. I grew up in Hood County, Texas.
When you were a child, do you have a favorite book or a favorite toy that you remember?
Oh yeah. Me and Laura used to play. We used to ride stick horses. We didn't have many toys when we grew up.
That's a good answer.
We'd have one. We got a little red wagon one Christmas, you know, together.
Is there a scent or a sound that immediately takes you back to your childhood? For example, whenever I smell a horse, it reminds me of my granddad because he always smelled like a horse to me. Not a bad thing, but even now when I smell the smell of horse, it reminds me of him.
Well, the things that bring me back to my childhood not very frequent. You find them in this country, you know, because we had the old river running down behind the field, and there's something about it. It's not a bad smell, but it's down in the river bottom, even though it is, of course you've been down there, it's kind of sultry, you know, but it still is cool. Kind of when you get down close to the river, it's more or less cool. We played right out in the sun on the sandbanks.
Without any sunscreen.
Right. We didn't even know what sunscreen or mosquito repellent was.
Do you recall something that you've gotten in trouble for when you were a child? Whether you deserved to or not.
Well, I was such a good child, so you didn't get in trouble. Well, you mean in family life or what?
Anything. At school or in family?
Yeah, I remember several incidents. One, you know, when we were growing up, you didn't have all these drugs and medicine and stuff. And Granddad, your granddad, he used tobacco to worm his horses. We had 2 colts that was weaning up. We had them in another pasture, and it was my job to feed the horses, these colts. And I got in trouble twice with this tobacco. One time, me and Grandpa had gone to, I think, Uncle Willard's, and we boys was doing his chores, so that day we sent Jim Lowell up to feed the colts and then go down and do grandpa's chores. Come over to the field then where me and Daddy's at. So Lowell walked up. I had this tobacco hid in a stump, see, up there in the hills. And I guess Lowell had spied on me, see, and he knew where it was at, so he got that tobacco. He come to the field where me and Daddy's at, and he said, and I smelt him just as soon as he walked up. You know, people that don't smoke, I kept trying to get him to get back, but and Daddy's down under a planter working on it. Directly, Daddy crawled out from there. Okay, where's your tobacco? So nothing Lowell could do but hand it over.
He had to fess up.
And same deal, I took this little dab of tobacco that is left from feeding the horses. I took it to school with me. And then, in that little two-teacher school down there, we went down to the outhouse and everybody rolled them a cigarette. We're supposed to have a lookout, see? And he forgot what he's supposed to do. Exactly. Somebody looked up and they said, "All books have taken up." So we would put out our cigarettes and run for the schoolhouse. When we got up there, there's little old teachers. Now I'm not downing her, but she was a young girl, and she met the first guy that got to the porch, a concrete porch up about this high, and steps, you know, and she told him, said, "No, just wait till the rest of them gets here and y'all line up down there." So she let us come in the house one at a time, and boy, she'd take up the board and she'd lift you off the porch into the foyer, see? And that was over the tobacco. She asked, of course then she said, "Who's got the tobacco?" And nobody was, Buck Martin, you know him.
Yeah.
He had it. He had my tobacco, so she told him to bring it up there. So she started to correct him, and he said, "It's not mine." So she let him go back and sit down, and she said, "Well, who does the tobacco belong to?" She said, nobody to answer, so she said, "Okay, you boys will all have to stay in your recesses, lunch periods, till I find out who." So I said, "Well, now if I don't admit to it, see, I'm jeopardizing all
everybody
the
else.
other boys." So I told her it is mine, and of course Daddy is on the school board. She said, "Now what is your daddy going to say when I have to tell him about this?" I wanted to tell her she didn't have to. I said, "Well, I don't know." And she said, "Well, you know, I'll have to tell him." And I said, "Yeah, I guess so." Well, she let me sweat that for a long time, and finally one day she called me up to her desk and she said, "If you'll take this and throw it in the stove," you know, I had these old wood burning stoves. "If you'll take this and throw it in the stove, I just won't never tell you."
Oh.
But how Rosalie kept from finding that out, I don't know. Or Rosalie,
She would have told on you.
she went home and told Mama before Laura got in trouble. She told Mama before we could get home. But she didn't ever find out about that, so I got by with it.
And it's bothered your conscience ever since.
No, it's been kind of funny though, how a kid has to sweat over something. That is Worse than if it just jerked me out and gave me a whipping.
Sweating over it was worse. Can you share a specific memory of your grandparents or an older person that you loved that had a lot to do with your life? Either grandparents, aunts, uncles, something like that.
Oh yeah, I remember both my grandparents, both sides, Papa and Mama Backus, and Grandma and Grandpa real well. Cause see, I was a big boy by the time we left down there.
Yeah. Did they both live close?
Yeah, we lived, you know, that big house where we had the reunion. That's where we lived. That is on Grandma and Grandpa's place. And Pop Baxter's place was across the river. You had to go nearly to Granbury and then back if you was going in a car. But one thing I remember, Grandpa, we lived in Tharp Springs when we were little. Well, a year before I started school. And Grandpa, when if he went to Granbury and store that at Tharp Springs is just a block from where we lived, Grandpa would stop and get us kids a milk nickel. You know, I don't think they cost you about 50 cents a piece now, but they cost a nickel.
That's ice cream?
Yeah, that ice cream bar, you know, on a stick. And that's what I remember about him. One of the things, of course, we've got a lot of great memories about him, but
sure.
And Papa Backus never bought us Christmas presents, but he'd buy fruit by the case or box, and we kids had free access to it on Christmas Day. We could eat all
you want.
All the fruit we wanted.
That's a good memory.
Of course, fruit wasn't, you know, now with trucks like it is. Kid nowadays, fruit don't mean nothing to the kid now, but boy, we loved that fruit.
Yeah.
Of course, we had peaches, plums and stuff, but I'm talking about oranges and stuff like that. We didn't have nothing like it. It had to be bought. But Papa Backus would buy a box of oranges and I think apples. Of course, we had apples, but not them old big ones like you get out of Washington.
Yeah. That's good. Do you remember your first Bible? Where you got it? And where it came from? Who gave it to you? And how it affected your life?
I'm kind of embarrassed over that, but then we didn't have Bibles. I don't think I had a Bible till I was about grown. But we had a family Bible, you know, different one. But somebody, Granny gave Neve and I a new Bible when we married. And then somebody gave me a New Testament to carry in my pocket when I had to go to war. And I only had, I think, Neve bought me a good Bible then later on, and I've just about wore it out, but I guess I'll just keep it.
Keep wearing it.
Because it's got markings in it and everything. So
know where to find what you're looking for.
I'll probably just keep it from now on.
It's a good idea.
Unless I last another 81 years.
It could happen.
You know better than that, yeah.
Well, the Bible promises us longevity when you honor your parents, so you're doing good there. Up to 120 years.
Well, I got
so
a ways
you still
to
got
go to get
a long ways.
120.
What was your first job outside of the home? Or
Hoeing Johnson grass out of corn for the neighbors down in the river bottom. Oh, and you know how much I'm getting?
no,
50 cents a day.
you were in high cotton.
Now that's a day. That's a day.
Yeah.
I had two cousins hoeing with me, but they were just, well, one of them was, of course, this is on Daddy's side, but one of them, you remember Uncle Roy that comes? One of these boys was his age, and the other one was just, you know, like boys are. I don't know how much difference there was in Ed and Roland, but they was the two boys that was hoeing with him. They was getting 75 cents a day, and I hoed the row every time they did.
Maybe they had more experience.
I guess.
They got them an
They
executive
was a little
job.
older anyway. But that's one thing after I started farming for myself. If I hoed hard hoe hands, if you was a little young, if you could keep up, or your mother and you could keep y'all's and our row every time anybody else, I didn't dock them. I paid them all just alike. I didn't make a difference.
Some of them can. It depends on how hard they decide to work. When did you meet? How did you meet Neva? And how long did you date? How old were you?
Oh, let's see. How did I meet? I would. I met her at skating. We skated in the gym there at Arch, and I met her, I guess, there. But then I'd say girls didn't have cars,
Right.
and didn't many boys. But they lived 3/4 of a mile south of Arch. So, and I was working on a ranch further over. So when I'd come to town, I'd meet that bunch of girls, you know, going or coming somewhere. I don't know, there's a whole bunch of them. Neva and Toots, the Stewart girl, and the Rush girls. The Rush girls is a little younger. That's Roy's aunts. And let's see who else. Oh yeah, there's Juanita Brewster. But that I knew. So I finally got nerve enough one time to stop. The girls was fixing to have a weenie roast. Used to be a locust grove down south there, you know, from the store over on the east side, and
Right.
these girls out there gathering up wood for a weenie roast. So I stopped and asked Neva for a date. But Neva and I didn't date very long, see, still. I forget. Well, let's see. I think that was the 4th of July, and we married in August the 13th.
Wow. And how old were you?
I was 20. I like from August till October being 21. Neva was, she was already 20, see. No, she wasn't. She was almost 20. She turned 20 about the same time because she's just a year younger than I am.
Right. That's pretty good. What kind of car was your first car?
It was a Plymouth.
What year model? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's a 36.
36 Plymouth. What color?
Black. You didn't have many colors.
They were all black.
Didn't have many colors to choose from.
Now, I know you served in the military. Can you tell when you went in and how long you served and where?
I think it figures out about 42 months. Anyhow, you get them hash marks when you get 3 years. Every 3 years they put that hash on your arm, and I had already had the hash mark. And I went to the Pacific, and I hit just a big lot of those islands. Not that I fought on all of them, but in the process of getting over there and all. I first went to 2 places in New Guinea, but they finally unloaded us in Leyte. That's on the Luzon, the Philippine Islands. That's where I got off the boat. Then I stayed there a while. Then they flew me back to New Guinea. And then I took a little old boat from there up to Sadar, New Guinea. Stayed up there a while, and then they flew me back where I come from down there. And I get Hollandia or Finch Haven mixed up, but there's 2. And then I went back down there. Then we regrouped and we was on Luzon when the war ended. We was right up there with them, mixing it with them.
Right.
And then after the war was over, we went to moving back down to the coast. And so, as long as I'd been in, but being in the States, I wasn't racking up points very fast. So when they was going to send the unit home, and I didn't have enough points to come home with them, so they put me in a. But then, you see, I was getting to be a man. I was in my 20s, see, and they put me in a company with 18-year-old boys and sent me to Japan. And by the time we got to Japan, we went on a boat. By the time we got to Japan, the point system had dropped way below me. And there's 3 of us guys that is just right up there and early eligible when they put us in with these kids.
Right.
And by the time we got up there, they relieved us of duty, and we didn't have nothing to do but just wait till they. But they told us that now don't get too far away from your barrack, because we might call you just any day to catch the boat home.
Right.
So we just, and you talking about something boring, it's just hanging around there, nothing to do, and we was afraid to leave very far. And when I got on the boat then to come home, nearly all them 18-year-old boys was on them coming home too.
How long does it take to get home on a boat?
Oh, well, I was on the boat 34 days going over.
Gosh.
But it didn't take us that long coming back, but it took us a while. I forgot now just how long.
Wow.
I was on that boat coming home, though, on Christmas Day.
What year was that?
That'd be 46, 45. I got out in 46.
Christmas Day. But that wasn't a very good Christmas present.
Oh, it wasn't.
Was there a person, event, or a tragedy that changed your life, or the way you look at things a little bit, or?
Well, I don't suppose too much. I'll tell you, and of course you was around then, I think you the worst. I was hurt worse when Lola died.
Yeah. A lot of people around here were. Still left a mark.
Because me and him more or less grew together.
Yeah. What was the age difference between you and him?
Well, there's less than 2 years. He was born in June and I was born in October. So I guess
October, June. Not really even close to 2 years.
there was, well, there's over a year, but there wasn't 2 years difference in us.
Yeah. Pretty close in age. Is there still some things that's left in your life that you'd like to do? Or places you'd like to go? Or
Oh, I suppose not anymore. When you get there's a lot of used to be. I'd love to go to Glenda's right now, but we're not physically able, I don't think, to make that much of a trip. We can go, like, well, that trip we went with you and your mother
Yeah.
the other day, I got along pretty good.
yeah.
But if Neve had been with us, we'd have probably both been tardy, because I'd be trying to help her or something.
Sure.
But I guess I'd love to go to Glenda's one more time. We've never been to Colorado with us.
Since they moved.
We went, just about every year when they lived in North Dakota.
Yeah.
But we were both still going pretty good then.
So you don't think you want to go skydiving or anything like that?
No, I never did want to do that, and I never did feel like I wanted to bungee jump.
Yeah. I think I'd do that.
You'd bungee jump?
Yeah, but I want to do it in water. So you hit the water.
Oh, I was going to say, I wouldn't, if you was going to bungee jump, I wouldn't want to watch it.
I might not ever get to, but I'd still like to.
I think that'd be something that bear on my mind if some of my close skin try that bungee jumping and it happened like it do sometime they didn't have
Don't get caught.
the rope
Yeah.
the right length or something and let them bash into the ground or it'd something would break. That'd be a...
Bad. Yeah, that's probably why more people don't do it.
Oh, yeah, that'd be terrible.
Can you think of anything in your life that you'd change if you had it to do over again?
Well, I guess if I had it to do over, I'd kind of... now, not that I don't think I really mistreated my kids, Neva, but I could be a better daddy or husband than I have been, I think, if I had it to do over.
Sure. I think we're all like that.
But I'm pretty well satisfied with life. Like I say, Neva and I have been together 60 years next month, see.
Wow.
So, and we fussed, don't get me wrong, but I've never laid a hand on her. I would not do that. I don't care how mad I'd get, I would not hit her.
Sure.
As long as I'm of her right mind, I'm not going to hit her. And then if I get to where I don't know what I'm doing, I want the kids to get me where I can't abuse her.
Well, that shouldn't happen.
I don't think it will.
That The Bible promises us that God gives us a spirit of a sound mind. He'll give you a spirit of the sound mind as long as we ask Him for it. Well, this should be my last question. How would you like to be remembered?
Well, I'd like to be remembered. I'd like for all my nieces and nephews. Of course, I'm sure I maybe have corrected you kids some, but I never did do it intending to be ugly. And I'd like for to be remembered as a caring person for others.
Sure. Well, I think you've done that job.
As far as I know, I don't have a niece or nephew that is afraid of me.
No.
I know even kids that's afraid of their own parents. Now, of course, you know, you've studied the Bible enough to know that, you know, we're supposed to fear God and Christ, but it's a different thing, you know, to run and try to crawl in the closet or something where He can't find us. We know He can find us, but I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about.
Respect more.
Respect is, anyhow, I hope that's the way I'm remembered.
Well, you're remembered well. I can tell you that's for sure. If you get as far as you have without offending somebody, you're in good shape.
Well, I've offended somebody. I've offended a sister, and I don't know how come.
Well,
And there's nothing I can do, because she won't. She just won't. You know, how she is. She won't even talk to me, but she'll write me an ugly letter, and I can't. You don't do anything about that. If you try to answer it, then she takes it the wrong way. So I don't know. That's one thing I'd like to get straightened out.
I think it can get straightened out.
But she, I don't know where she gets the idea that she's had it any rougher than the rest of us.
Well, some of that probably comes with age, and as well as, you know, I think when you don't have a husband and you don't have kids, you don't know how to love like the rest of it. You know what I mean? When you're not blessed with a good family, or you know, a wife and kids, it's.
But I feel like even I've raised pretty good kids.
Oh yeah, that's true, definitely.
Oh, I don't know.
Well,
if you'll hold this, I'll see if I can get
right.
out.
I appreciate your time. Would it be easier to go this way, or?
Let's see. Sis, if I can, you just get over there and brace yourself.
Okay.
Where I get. Oh, we nearly made it. That's one thing I'd love to do is get to work.
Okay, I just want to start with